Yeah. Oh, what? Yeah. You look at me like I'm a threat, but really I'm just a blessing. This is what it's like to be real. Come on, feel. They know I'm the truth. On some that'll change your perspective. I know what it's like to be real. Come on, feel. Walk around stressing, not realizing life is a blessing. Don't know what it's like to be real. Come on, feel. And we don't get no but your flexing. All of your antics and presents. We know what it's like to be real. Come on, feel. I can see it in your eyes, yeah, it's codependence. When you spend your time, see you're lacking vision. When you compromise, got no independence. You see me living life and you get offended. Yeah, you get offended. But come on to the other side. I am the light so you cannot hide. Trying to fit in, got you dead inside. Tried to kill me but I cannot die, yeah. I'm alive and you cannot take it. I'm on the rise and this crown I'm taking. On the winning side and there's no mistaking. No, you cannot fake this. You look at me like I'm a threat, but really I'm just a blessing. This is what it's like to be real. Come on, feel. They know I'm the truth. On some that'll change your perspective. I know what it's like to be real. Come on, feel. Walk around stressing, not realizing life is a blessing. Don't know what it's like to be real. Come on, feel. And we don't get no but your flexing. All of your antics and presents. We know what it's like to be real. Come on, feel. Where your real friends at? Somebody tell me where your real friends at? Where your real friends at? I know you don't feel that. Yeah. But come on to the other side. I am the light so you cannot hide. Trying to fit in, got you dead inside. Tried to kill me but I cannot die, yeah. I'm alive and you cannot take it. I'm on the rise and this crown I'm taking. On the winning side and there's no mistaking. No, you cannot fake this. You look at me like I'm a threat, but really I'm just a blessing. This is what it's like to be real. Come on, feel. They know I'm the truth. On some that'll change your perspective. I know what it's like to be real. Come on, feel. Walk around stressing, not realizing life is a blessing.
This is pain, this is youth. This is all the hush thoughts in your room. This is for the first time out with your crew. Getting f***ed up, find joy in the bruise. Eyes with the power to seduce. Hand me the aux, we could cruise. Some nights I feel like I got nothing to lose. Some nights I feel like I got nothing to lose.
Freedom, such an elusive concept for many, available to all, yet grasped by few. a freely given birthright, yet more costly in its expression than most believe they can afford. But what is the cost to live without it? Wars have been forged over it, and yet it belongs to the peaceful. Slaves have been made in their master's attempt to barter his or her way into its city gates. But the gates of freedom are not open to the despot. Many will cross oceans to find its shores, but its borders can be found within. Its name is heralded by all nations and tongues, though most never recognize its face in their lives. They welcome and wish to see its benefits, yet resist and refuse to walk out its precepts. Though many attempt to destroy or hide its reality in their futile effort for unwarranted control, the truth of freedom will outlast any of the dissipating lies that seek to blot out its existence. Freedom is not the erasure of all boundaries, but rather the embracing of those that are healthy and true. It is not the denial or blame of consequence, but rather the right and pathway into full responsibility of every outcome in your life. Freedom is not accepted by the weak. It is the way of the strong, the gateway to growth, progress, and ultimately for everyone, a life full of fulfillment.
And I'm giving you what you're asking for. Future told no time for digging up the past, bruh. Talking about all the people that didn't last. And scarcity is time for using what you have. Just be grateful, the strong is always the last. Things are crooks who settle for weaker paths. People's choices are hardly the ones chosen. I'm stepping out of the grave, that's your omen. Yeah, yeah, flower child, in fluorescent, warrior, feel my presence, sagacity, pressure, from dead broke, woman affluent, underdog, made a past of it, on top of this shit, what's happening, born in darkness, came to life, within the masses, eternal life.
You give me new life, 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 oh, you give me new life. You give me new life. You give me new life.
They locked me out, outsider. Felt the pressure in the room when the boy beside him. Despite disguises, they can see the difference. Cubic don't shine the same in the diamond's presence. Them lights don't hold the same when the prophet's present. Impossible to tame when the locks are missing. The blocks are missing, the box is missing. Reach your hand and find a switch, but I'm wide different. You can think we work the same, but a profit different. You can think we preach the same, but the cloth is different. Sort of a maverick, I don't fit you boys' equations, I resist the average. Y'all playing Madden, I'm running real plays, I just make it happen. Got the doubt of saying who would've thunk of it. Life gave me the assist, made a dunk of it. I'm the one the papers chasing, so it's dumb rich. Truth's #1 supply, you can come get it.
You give me new life. 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 Oh, you give me new life.
Hey, let's run it back. I think I got one more.
You give me new life.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
You give me new life.
You wasting time waiting, thinking I'ma fall behind. I'm the future, baby, I ain't even seen my prime. Culture spinning on my axis, so I'm never late. You just left to try to catch the waves that I create. But this ain't surfing, no, these waters for the boat. You never catch it from just talking about it, Lord knows. Got them nodding from the bars I wrote a decade ago. That's how you know when it's the truth, 'cause they'll never get old. And I know you getting tired of the lies when they catch you in the vulnerable times. Then they robbing you blind. I know they look like sheep in the eyes, but they're wolves in the mind. Take your innocence to hang you to dry. If you question anything that they try, I speak from a confident mind and there's tears in your eyes.
And it make you wanna go, and it make me wanna go on them, hang them from their feet. I just do it with my speech.
You give me new life. 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 Oh, you give me new life.
This is pain, this is youth. This is all the hush hush thoughts in your room. This is for the first time out with your crew. Getting f***ed up, find joy in the bruise. Eyes with the power to seduce. Hand me the aux, we could cruise. Some nights I feel like I got nothing to lose. Some nights I feel like I got nothing to lose.
Freedom, such an elusive concept for many, available to all, yet grasped by few. A freely given birthright, yet more costly in its expression than most believe they can afford. But what is the cost to live without it? Wars have been forged over it, and yet it belongs to the peaceful. Slaves have been made in their master's attempt to barter his or her way into its city gates. But the gates of freedom are not open to the despot. Many will cross oceans to find its shores, but its borders can be found within. Its name is heralded by all nations and tongues, though most never recognize its face in their lives. They welcome and wish to see its benefits, yet resist and refuse to walk out its precepts. Though many attempt to destroy or hide its reality in their futile effort for unwarranted control, the truth of freedom will outlast any of the dissipating lies that seek to blot out its existence. Freedom is not the erasure of all boundaries, but rather the embracing of those that are healthy and true. It is not the denial or blame of consequence, but rather the right and pathway into full responsibility of every outcome in your life. Freedom is not accepted by the weak. It is the way of the strong, the gateway to growth, progress, and ultimately for everyone, a life full of fulfillment.
Today I'm gonna live my dreams and accept how God created me. I won't let confusion, frustration, insecurity stop me. So I've made up in my mind that I'll be all that I'm meant to be, yeah. And there's nothing in this world that I let block me. I gotta get what's mine, yeah, yeah. No hater can stop my favor. It's not determined by you anyway. And I've been waiting for this moment in my life, so I ain't worried about what he has to say. And please believe me, you don't have to bet on me, cause I'll bet on me any day. I gotta get what's mine, yeah, yeah. What's meant for me, I gotta get what's mine, yeah, mine. I gotta get what's mine. I gotta get what's mine. Yeah, yeah. I gotta get what's mine. I gotta get it, go get it. I gotta get what's mine. Yeah, yeah. I gotta get what's mine. 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 I'm giving it, I'm focused. I've got my mind right, it's same focus. Cause I never knew what I had until you came in and you worked it out. Said I'm strong and I'm moving on. I'm thankful cause you showed me that my deepest fears got my failure, but that I'm powerful beyond measure. I thought who was I to be brilliant and change the world? I'm freeing all of my enemies to change the world.
Yeah, I believe in this season that we'll rise above all our seasons, flying high for a lifetime. So y'all move over cause it's high time. Believe me, we going somewhere. The ground's fit good and we ain't staying here. Forget reminiscing and grieving, cause we exist for this reason, to bring back hope to our daughters, make more men of our brothers. It's legacy to our fathers, that security to our mothers, to spread more light to the nations, pursue all peace with all patience, presenting God-like lifestyles. Y'all thought wrong, but it's right now. Donate millions to children, secure our future from villains. Culture shifting how you're living. Don't try to keep up, man, we different. We gon' live how we want to. Kids gon' eat like they want to. Trillion dimensions through our visions. Cooking up culture in our kitchen. Celebrating forever.
This is pain, this is youth. This is all the hush hush thoughts in your room. This is for the first time out with your crew. Getting f***ed up, find joy in the bruise. Eyes with the power to seduce. Hand me the aux, we could cruise. Some nights I feel like I got nothing to lose. Some nights I feel like I got nothing to lose.
Freedom, such an elusive concept for many, available to all, yet grasped by few. A freely given birthright, yet more costly in its expression than most believe they can afford. But what is the cost to live without it? Wars have been forged over it, and yet it belongs to the peaceful. Slaves have been made in their master's attempt to barter his or her way into its city gates. But the gates of freedom are not open to the despot. Many will cross oceans to find its shores, but its borders can be found within. Its name is heralded by all nations and tongues, though most never recognize its face in their lives. They welcome and wish to see its benefits, yet resist and refuse to walk out its precepts. Though many attempt to destroy or hide its reality in their futile effort for unwarranted control, the truth of freedom will outlast any of the dissipating lies that seek to blot out its existence. Freedom is not the erasure of all boundaries, but rather the embracing of those that are healthy and true. It is not the denial or blame of consequence, but rather the right and pathway into full responsibility of every outcome in your life. Freedom is not accepted by the weak. It is the way of the strong, the gateway to growth, progress, and ultimately for everyone, a life full of fulfillment.
They're treating you mean, they're killing your dreams, they're pleading esteem. They're jealous of us, they're burying your potential's too much. If you would just lift up yourself, believe in you, there's really nothing else that they could ever do. They hiding the truth, they following you, cause you got the jewel. But that is enough, it's time to step up by realizing you're more than they could ever handle. I pray that you're hearing me. You're perfect as you really are. The world will see just own who you are.
Hourglass, all class, maybe wanna spend some time with you. Girl, you know what you mean to me. I believe you were made for me. Girl, you better use your own. It's time to let the world know it. Cause what's a star to the world if it hides his life from the world below it? I done seen him competing with you, non-stop. You ain't wanna see him do it, steady measuring, but never measuring up to you. They could never do it, but friends soon turn to enemies. Don't let them take what's meant to be. Just make that pain your energy. Just own who you are, just
own who you are.
This is pain, this is youth. This is all the hush, hush thoughts in your room. This is for the first time out with your crew. Getting f***ed up, find joy in the bruise. Eyes with the power to seduce. Hand me the aux, we could cruise. Some nights I feel like I got nothing to lose. Some nights I feel like I got nothing to lose.
Freedom, such an elusive concept for many, available to all, yet grasped by few. A freely given birthright, yet more costly in its expression than most believe they can afford. But what is the cost to live without it? Wars have been forged over it, and yet it belongs to the peaceful. Slaves have been made in their master's attempt to barter his or her way into its city gates. But the gates of freedom are not open to the despot. Many will cross oceans to find its shores, but its borders can be found within. Its name is heralded by all nations and tongues, though most never recognize its face in their lives. They welcome and wish to see its benefits, yet resist and refuse to walk out its precepts. Though many attempt to destroy or hide its reality in their futile effort for unwarranted control, the truth of freedom will outlast any of the dissipating lies that seek to blot out its existence. Freedom is not the erasure of all boundaries, but rather the embracing of those that are healthy and true. It is not the denial or blame of consequence, but rather the right and pathway into full responsibility of every outcome in your life. Freedom is not accepted by the weak. It is the way of the strong, the gateway to growth, progress, and ultimately for everyone, a life full of fulfillment.
Welcome to The Way, an Iexist event. I want to say on behalf of everyone here that we're honored to have you join us for today's training and session. As a coaching and counsel company, we've been serving others since 2018, and we know that your growth, success, and fulfillment is vital, not only to yourself, but to everyone around you. And it's at the core of our heart and mission here that everyone possible be pressed and empowered to lead a life that is full of fulfillment. Thank you so much for accompanying us on this experience. We're looking forward to see how this will impact the many of you. Share this with your family and friends, all those that you love, to grant them the opportunity to partner with you as you become all that you are. Enjoy.
Thank you so much for tuning in. I know last time I said I wasn't going to keep starting like that, but I can't go without appreciating all of you who tune in online and things like that. It's a privilege to host you. All right. To all of you in the hall, again, I'll repeat this as necessary because I know a lot of you have not come in contact with our presentation until now. So I call you guys that would normally be considered in the chat. I consider you to be in the hall, right? This is the classroom. It's quiet in the classroom. It's loud in the hall, and it's where all the talking is going on. So we call it affectionately still the hall. All right. So to everyone in the hall, again, thank you for tuning in. This is the Way Spiritual Edition. All right. I'm excited already because this specific episode will be gearing you up for the next and still connecting you to the last a little bit. So if this is your first time listening to us, please go back and get some of the other material and the previous episodes. All right. So I want to get straight to it. I'm Bryan Pharr, if you did not know, and it's going to be a very good one. I'm always excited about these things because it's innate within me. I believe teaching is a gift. And for me to be doing this is a great privilege, but not because I'm looking at myself as so important, right? So important that you just have to listen to me as if there's no one else who can do the same job if it was necessary. But I look at it as a privilege. I'm grateful for it. I'm fulfilled by it because I was meant for it. There's no other way to say it. And because I was meant for it, fulfillment is tied to the expression of teaching for me. Simple. Because I was meant for it, for me to do it births fulfillment. Now, I've talked to a lot of people over the years, and they look at the production or what we're doing now or some of the things I've done in the past. And I think from an outside perspective, a lot of people can be proud and they can say, wow, that's great. That's amazing. If that's their opinion. It won't always be everyone's opinion. That's fine. But for those whose opinion is that, it almost comes across as, okay, yay, you get to be fulfilled. You get to do what you love. Stirs jealousy in some, stirs inspiration into others, and things like that. But I've seen a lot of people probably look into it from the outside as if I had a choice in doing this. And I often tell people, I had a specific conversation with an individual, young lady, we'll call her, and she was saying, again, she was proud of the presentation. Wow, you're really doing it. I remember when you said you would do XYZ. And how did you get up the gall to do it? What made you actually go for it? Because a lot of people don't. And I told her specifically, I didn't have a choice. And she kind of looked at me like, what do you mean you don't have a choice? Or you didn't have a choice? I'm like, I didn't have a choice. It's how I feel personally. And I feel that specifically because I told you to do this is fulfillment. But what most people don't realize is to not do this is punishment. It feels literally like punishment. So today, I want to bring a different spiritual reality to you. It's not something that we don't know. It's just something that I want to bring clear awareness to. All right. I want to talk about, how about I say it this way? There's a lot of names that are birthed from adoration and admiration and things like that for God, and are approved 100%. The reason why I said this will be setting you up for the next episode is because we'll get a little dark on this one, and next month it won't be the way the spiritual edition. I'm gonna do the way the spooky edition. All right, so be warned about the fact that, you know, this will be maybe to some of you a little bit darker, but we're only going to be talking about the realities of life and success, fulfillment. At the end of the day, all I'm here to do is to bridge you over into fulfillment. And so I appropriately named God today, whom I love, whom has saved me personally, the Punisher. Now, that's not just a reference to some anti-hero figure. I'm saying this for a reason. Please stay tuned. Please stay in there with me. You'll see why. So I've already established that for me to be teaching is fulfillment. I've heard a lot of themes come across about faith, and we can go faith. We can talk about change in this same breath. What I know as a person is that no one gets to success without being fully what they've been created to do. You have to step voluntarily into mastering everything that you've been prepared, intended, let's use the word called to be in this world. Contrary to popular belief, maybe, a lot of the change that's necessary for us to become as successful and even willing to be successful as we need to be is not often birthed from happy, good things. I've said this before. Here's the thing. Jealousy is a humongous motivator for a lot of people for whatever the reason. You'll be able to hear me as I go this way. I know we would love for people to look at whatever we're doing, especially those who have brought themselves into fulfillment and who are living the life of their dreams. I know you just want people to look at you and be inspired and to appreciate all the work you've done to get yourself, or to go along with the grace in your life. Let me say it that way. To be able to be where you're at, to utilize every gift that's been put inside of you, to harness discipline and consistency and integrity and authenticity, all these things that you know in the back of your mind has had to happen over the course of time. I know you would like for people to look at it and say, wow, I'm just so inspired. But oftentimes, and there are people who are going to do that, and I can appreciate that when it happens. But do you know what I've learned to be okay with? I've learned to be okay with the jealous heart that may be peering in to maybe even something they think they're seeing through your presentation from a distance, right? What they perceive or can see from a distance, and it just kind of rubs them the wrong way. I don't know what it is about this person. I just don't really like them. They come across overly this or that. I don't understand why they always talk about this. I don't understand why they just can't be less mean when they present or something like that. However it's coming across. The reason why I've learned to be okay with that is because oftentimes that's the birthing place of a call, maybe the same call in another individual. We love to hear the side of things or the stories that have to do with others being admired. And so through their admiration, they were inspired to go make a move. But some people will not even understand you until later. They don't understand your strong presentation. They don't understand why you just have to say something that they don't agree with multiple times over. And they don't understand why they have to be submitted to you, even as a parent or something like that, right? And this is a great place to talk about it because we see this many times in children, where at a particular point, they stop liking how you govern them. Number one, they're growing up. But number two, there's this idea that I want that same amount of freedom. I want to do what I want to do. I see you do what you want to do, right? And so parents oftentimes, I'm sure, just from testimony, feel like children are turning against them at a particular point. Now, what the child doesn't know in those moments is that they will soon grow to understand why all of the reprimanding, why all of the disciplining, why all of the governing the way you did it was in play. But at the time, there could be maybe some envious statements that start to come across where they're like, why do you get to and I have to? And then you're like, well, I pay the bills around here or whatever the thing is at the moment. Well, I feel like I'm old enough to do whatever, to do this. And there's this whole thing. And even looking or peering into some of those statements, it could almost sound like, I don't know that anyone really looks at it this way, but this is just from an outside view. Sound like it's maybe a little jealousy in there or something like that, right? You're jealous even as a child to a parent of what I'm able to do at this age and stage in my life, and you haven't grown into that yet, right? But what happens is why I've learned to appreciate those moments is because it's just as good of a motivator. Maybe sometimes, I don't know this, this is opinion. Maybe sometimes better. I've heard many times that there's a master of a particular thing. Let's look at martial arts. Let's look at speaking. Let's look at governing. And I mean from a literal governmental standpoint. Let's look at teaching. Let's look at a particular sport, swimming, diving. I'm going real Olympic in my mind right now. You'll see a star, right? Running, who has done so much, who is training a group of pupils. And there's always that one problem pupil, right? Seems like they're disagreeing the most. They're just, I don't know, from a teacher standpoint, I'm sure rubbing you the wrong way all the time. You hear this again, not to double back, but even in parenting, it seems like I had that one problem child. Well, with grace and tact, oftentimes those are the leaders, those are the children, those are the pupils that end up turning to outdo what it is that you've even done. And you appreciate that as a parent because you want your children to go farther than you. All right. Why am I saying all of this? Because I need you to examine this in your own life. That oftentimes what has been the birthing place for the greatness that could come about in somebody, maybe you are looking at from the outside in their life, or even from what's come about in your life, is from pure punishment. I'm saying that because that's what it's felt like. And even in those master pupil positions, what every master has to recognize sometimes, and maybe remember, if you were that child, if you were that pupil, is that what was pure joy for you in teaching your craft, in doing what was gifted to you to do on this planet, on this earth, was pure hell, was pure punishment to someone else, to sometimes what is considered the problem pupil. But I have to state this and agree, for those of you who would be willing to acknowledge this, that it's that pure punishment that was the poking for that individual to go be what they were supposed to be. So I'll say this. I think that there's been many times, I can go entrepreneur with you really quickly, to say the same thing. There will be a whole bunch of people that'll come into an organization who are happy. Again, pure joy to come work every day, to do the tasks that have been put in front of them. Then you always have the lonely, the wayward entrepreneur that wanders into the organization because he or she needs a job or something like that, right? And this will always be the misunderstood person, because cutting to the end, what is pure joy for an individual, or all of the other individuals, or most of the other individuals, is pure punishment for the individual who is an entrepreneur. So last thing, let's look at this as a person that's intended to fly. All right. When I'm intended to fly, there is no amount, let's say eagle and penguins, there is no amount of learning the penguins' ways. There's no amount of trying to figure out and understand why they enjoy what they enjoy. There's no amount of group activity. It doesn't even matter that the penguins love the eagle. It doesn't matter that the eagle can find community. Just to say that it doesn't matter that there's others to speak to and things like that. If that eagle does not ever fly, even the penguin environment, though they're fulfilled, full of joy, is pure punishment to the eagle. It does not mean that the Arctic area where the penguins live is a bad place. It does not mean that maybe even if the eagle is mature, it doesn't mean that the eagle does not recognize that that's a great place for penguins. But what an eagle in that situation has to deal with is the fact that that's great for the penguins. It's not great for me, it's not fulfilling for me as an individual. I'm saying this from the heart to a lot of you to help bring some recognition to the Punisher. I need you to know immediately that everything on the outside of your individual calling, your individual purpose, everything on the outside of how you are uniquely wired to give to this world is going to be pure punishment for you. And that's baked in to this universal system. We love to recognize God as, who is creator, by the way, as the creator of fulfillment, as the creator of the world, everything we find to be beautiful, joy, love, all of these things, community, being able to grasp realities, having understanding, all these things, very beautiful. He created fire, right? In its proper context, it's beautiful. It's energy, it's fuel. It does a lot of things. It warms. It also has a bite attached to it, right? So that when it's used improperly or when it's in the wrong position, it becomes the most ravenous destroyer. All right. So when I inappropriately use fire, let's just say to put my hand on top of it, there is a punishment that's baked into. So I'll take this a little bit deeper for some of you. Living as a human, living underneath or within time. A lot of people look at God, look at the universe in this sense, right? When I say the universe, I'm saying you just look at the world around you. You look at everything that makes up this reality. You look at it as if certain things are happening to you in time. All right. I went over here. I touched the fire. It burned me. Some of you would actually literally say, God did something to me now. As soon as I touched it, I felt a punishment come. All right. And so God did something to me today. All I'm telling you is really quickly is that everything's already wired to get you where you're supposed to go. What I'm saying is before you got into this world, there was already a punishment prepared for you being out of alignment with the call on your life. It was already prepared. It's literally the only way most of us get into what it is that we're supposed to do. I'm not saying it's the only way. I said it's the only way many of us actually get into it. I believe it's one of the reasons why, if I were to quote a scripture here, I could say that God would say to his people that when your mother and father forsake you, I, the Lord, will take you up. I see that as an extension of exactly what I'm saying. I've already taken care of it. Even if somebody didn't raise you to be all you could be, I've already got systems in play that will actually guide you, right? In the form of punishment that will let you know when things are out of whack. Your body already punishes you if you don't do the right things for it, put the right things in it, things like that. There's a punishment already baked in, is all I'm trying to say, right? Why do we need to look at God as the punisher? He baked it in from the beginning, but you have to see why it's there. Misalignment turns into either alignment or realignment because of the punishment factor that's there. If it wasn't for the consequence of touching a fire, all right, I would just always mishandle fire. If it wasn't for the consequence that's baked into me using my own body, other people, all these things in the wrong manner, if there wasn't a consequence, a punishment attached to it, I would always be misaligned as an individual in either how I am presenting myself in this world or how I'm treating others, things like that. All right. So there is a dark side to this whole thing. And I would love for us, while hear me, I'm teaching you about prospering in this world, while I'm teaching you about how to make it and success and all these things and systems that normally will bridge us over into fulfillment for the person that applies it. I never want you to confuse that with comfort. So never let my preaching, quote, quote, it's more teaching. Never let my teaching, my training towards prosperity alleviate you from the idea that, or even make you think that this is a teaching or a coaching you into comfort. We don't embrace the ideas. I don't embrace the ideas of prosperity to get away from things that are uncomfortable. Now, although, please hear me, and I'm not talking about on a human level, all right? I'm not talking about stress and anxiety over whether I can pay the next bill or something like that. Yeah, you want to get rid of that. Okay, I'm not telling you anybody should be in that. But what I'm telling you is what's designed within a calling is the uncomfortability of having to put yourself out there, the uncomfortability of having to change, the uncomfortability of having to take responsibility, the uncomfortability of having to shine, right? Which doesn't just mean that you are able to get a few praises. It means that you also can get crucified, persecuted. Sounds a lot like punishment. Prosperity costs you still. Why am I telling you all of this? Let us never get it confused. All right. So, not to mix subjects, I just covered the idea that there's a hidden punishment baked into everything, but it's only for realignment. All right. Now let's talk the whole idea very quickly. And I'm just coming from the heart today. I don't want to read any scriptures. I don't want to go full blown theology today. Not because I couldn't, but I just want to talk from the heart. So let's go back for 2 seconds. I told you that I would refer back to some of the other subject matter from the previous episode presentation. We talked very firmly about how in the gateway, by the way, that's the name of the presentation I am referencing. We talk very candidly, very firmly about how we're welcomed into a wide open, expansive life, but how the gate to that life is narrow. And specifically, I'll bring up that the way is hard that leads to life. Why is the way hard that leads to life? I explained this then. I'll re-explain for this audience, because you have to die to get to it. Let's bring up what I assume is a old phrase that I've heard a couple times. The idea is that everyone wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die to get there. Such it is in this life. Hear me firmly. I keep saying, I'm not coaching you into comfort. I don't want you to be disillusioned, to have any delusion around the ideas of winning. All right. I already told you. I promise you, the only reason I'm sitting here doing this is because what I found is that everything else for me, this is why I told the young lady that I didn't have a choice, because everything else beneath my calling, no matter how good the situation is or was, is punishment. Pure punishment. I will acknowledge that some of the situations I could have been invited to, what were necessary opportunities for some others, and are opportunities, and are great opportunities outside of your own calling, outside of your own design, outside of, if I make it personal, my own design, were pure punishment, not because of what's going on around, but because of what I'm not allowed to be an expression, because I'm out of place. So in order to get here, in order for some of you to get where you need to go, in order for all of us to get where we need to be, we all gotta die. Fulfillment is on the other side of death. This is not physical death, by the way. I'm saying ego death. I'm saying pride death. For you to be all you were supposed to be, which means you have to receive and give all that you are meant to be in this life, you gotta die the ego death of this life. Because what I'm saying is, it's the ego, it's the pride that wants to keep us safe. I don't want to interact with those people. It doesn't seem safe. I don't want to go over here. It doesn't seem like appealing to me, or whatever the specific thing. But I can tell you, on the flip side of me actually doing some things I'm called to do, it's pure joy. It's pure fulfillment. Again, we're talking about, and I'm just at the precipice of some of the things, right? But we're talking about wild, wide open, lovely, joy-filled life moments, because I've been willing. Please allow me. I'm not trying to be your example. I'm just being an example. Okay. I told you already, I'm already good with you not you, but with people not admiring me. It's okay. I'm just being an example. Okay. What's pure joy now was pure hell being out of alignment. Okay. Because something will eat at you continuously until you do what you have to do. All right. So why is the way hard? Because you have to die. It takes extreme humility. Imagine Jesus Christ, who had a high calling, who is declared king of all, having to submit himself to die. Literally, actually, we ain't just talking about ego death. We saw the ego death, and then we saw the actual death, right? You know what gets me sometimes? It's like, and this is why I'm saying I'm not trying to prime you into comfort. I know we love, like, I don't know, man. I've been around a lot of people that, like, I know we want to see everything as flowery. We don't want to see the dark side of God, right? Which even the Bible quotes as loving to, and I'm using the word loving. I'm not saying it says this scripturally, but who makes his abode in dark clouds, right? He makes his secret place in darkness. All right. But we don't want to embrace the dark side of God, right? And it's only dark for your good, by the way. I already told you in a couple presentations ago, he's only good. But we don't like embracing that dark side. All right. So here's an interesting mystery for you, right? While I'm embracing the idea of being all that I'm meant to be, I have to look at this, for instance, right? There's a scripture that talks about how you will be witnesses. And there's a few levels we can look at that word, right? If we go very top, most people have approached it to be, I'll go talk to somebody about Jesus, about God, about truth, about true life, right? All those things in one. You can go a level deeper where you can say that my life will be a testament of his faith, of God's faith in me. That's a good level, right? I'll give you another level. And you can only get this if you're willing to go to the translation level and look at words and be willing to do a little Greek study and things like that. Most people don't realize that God saying to an individual in the scripture, you will become my witnesses. That word also is the same word for martyr. So in the same breath that I could say, you're willing to be my witnesses, that my life will testify of you, I'm also saying we could also read that literally, and you will be my martyrs. Imagine that. But I'm not saying that any translator, chose witness over martyr because they're embracing only a flowery side. I'm not saying that personally. But what is it in us that like to escape that reality that these people, even then, and I told you I'm not going to go heavy theology or anything like that. All I'm telling you is that principally being willing to die is what it takes. That's how I want to say it. You're going to have to give it your all to get into fulfillment. You're going to have to love discomfort. You're going to have to like people talking bad about you. All right. Why was I saying before that you can't love your reputation? Because I recognize that your reputation is what you would like for people to feel about you. That's not the same thing as having a good name. There's a difference between a good reputation and a good name. To have a good name, please have some integrity. Do what you say you're going to do. Period. Notice, for those of you who are Bible readers, or consider yourself on the path of theologians and things like that, notice how the scripture has never said, I will make your reputation great. I will make your name great, is what God promises to his people. So I don't know anybody, I'm going to be very honest with you, who has a great name, who has a good reputation with everybody. And I'm not using the word reputation in the sense of saying that person didn't do what they were supposed to do. I'm saying not everybody liked the individual is all I'm saying. Okay. Your reputation is up and down, depending on what corner you walk on. Somebody loves you, somebody hates you. All right. That's how you're viewed in other people's eyes. Your character is tied to your name. Okay. So I'm only saying that to say, listen, we got to be willing to die That's what it's really going to take. All right. So to get somebody even to that place of being willing to die it's always been pure punishment for you not to do it. I personally actually don't even understand how most of us have lived with the discomfort of comfort for so long. Maybe if there's anything different about me as an individual, maybe it's this: I do not care for the discomfort of comfort. I'd rather die than to be uncomfortable in what most people call comfort. Now, again, that's not a shot in any particular direction. I'm just saying that's a decision, right? Because it takes willingness to be made into who you're supposed to be made into. One more time. All other doors are meant to be pure punishment for you outside of your calling and design. That's how we get aligned in the first place. When we come back, I'll give you some really pointed conversation around the ideas of faith, a couple points around the idea of change, and will help you get to where you need to go. I just need you to understand what's happening in your life. I told you this is all about bridging awareness. I'm not saying that you don't innately know some of what I'm telling you. I'm telling you why. Because if you can see why, if you can see how, you can start changing certain things and get to alignment much quicker than some of us have. All right. So everything outside of your calling is meant by God, the Punisher, to be pure punishment to you. You have to understand that. If you're meant to fly, everything else is meant to be pure punishment. I know people can get offended with you because they don't understand why you don't enjoy, penguin land like they do, if they are penguins and they're meant to be there. But listen, and don't be degrading to people about where they live and things like that. I'm saying, I'm not using penguin and eagle as if one is better than the other. I'm talking about a penguin feels completely happy where a penguin's supposed to be because that's where it's supposed to be. An eagle is only going to feel joy where it's supposed to be. Only feel fulfillment where it's supposed to be. Not that one's better than the other. Actually, if the penguin's in his place, he is better off than the eagle out of his place. Hello. This ain't about which is the better bird. This is about getting right, getting in your place. All right. So I can't wait to get back. I want to talk a couple themes. I love it. Let's grow. Hey, if you're enjoying the masterclass thus far, I have a couple things that I'm willing to bet that you'll enjoy either just as much or even more. The first of those things is Wisdom for Days. It's my new book, and it is a compilation of 306 quotes that I've put together over years of experiences that are personal to me, that I know will help you out in your everyday life. Listen, it's just a great book. I highly recommend it to you. I want you to get it. You can get it at becomingallthatweare.com. Also, while you're there, pick up my book, A New Home. Go to the website. You can see all the details about it. It's a book that I've geared towards leaders that really will help you if you're feeling like you don't fit in life, as if you stand out in some type of way that you may not want to, but you just can't help it. This is all about how to get rid of your need to fit in and really stand out and be the person that you were created to be. The third thing that I want to tell you about is my podcast, Living the Dream. It is an Iexist podcast that I developed a few years ago that has tons and loads of great information, wisdom, insight. I gear towards the people who need the reality of living the dream. I know that talking about the dream is one thing, but to live it is an entirely different thing. And if you want insight in what it's like to actually live a dream, that is the podcast for you. Go pick these things up, go listen to these things. They'll continue to help you on your journey to progression, to freedom.
Freedom, such an elusive concept for many, available to all, yet grasped by few. A freely given birthright, yet more costly in its expression than most believe they can afford. But what is the cost to live without it? Wars have been forged over it, and yet it belongs to the peaceful. Slaves have been made in their master's attempt to barter his or her way into its city gates. But the gates of freedom are not open to the despot. Freedom is not accepted by the weak. It is the way of the strong, the gateway to growth, progress, and ultimately for everyone, a life full of fulfillment.
Welcome to an Iexist Masterclass. Hey, if you're enjoying the masterclass thus far, I have a couple things that I'm willing to bet that you'll enjoy either just as much or even more. The first of those things is Wisdom for Days. It's my new book, and it is a compilation of 306 quotes that I've put together over years of experiences that are personal to me, that I know will help you out in your everyday life. Listen, it's just a great book. I highly recommend it to you. I want you to get it. You can get it at becomingallthatweare.com. Also, while you're there, pick up my book, A New Home. Go to the website. You can see all the details about it. It's a book that I've geared towards leaders that really will help you if you're feeling like you don't fit in life, as if you stand out in some type of way that you may not want to, but you just can't help it. This is all about how to get rid of your need to fit in and really stand out and be the person that you were created to be. The third thing that I want to tell you about is my podcast, Living the Dream. It is an Iexist podcast that I developed a few years ago that has tons and loads of great information, wisdom, insight. I gear it towards the people who need the reality of living the dream. I know that talking about the dream is one thing, but to live it is an entirely different thing. And if you want insight in what it's like to actually live a dream, that is the podcast for you. Go pick these things up. Go listen to these things. They'll continue to help you on your journey to progression, to freedom.
Freedom, such an elusive concept for many, available to all, yet grasped by few. A freely given birthright, yet more costly in its expression than most believe they can afford. But what is the cost to live without it? Wars have been forged over it, and yet it belongs to the peaceful. Slaves have been made in their master's attempt to barter his or her way into its city gates. But the gates of freedom are not open to the despot. Freedom is not accepted by the weak. It is the way of the strong, the gateway to growth, progress, and ultimately for everyone, a life full of fulfillment.
Welcome to an Iexist Masterclass.
Sinatra's song My Way, I Did It My Way should be his theme song forever because he did it his way. He didn't wait for anybody to tell him how to do it. He did it his way.
Why you worry about me? Why you worry about me? Worry about me, it's whatever I should. Yeah.
You say there's really no way to win. You say the pressure's too much giving. You should just hold your breath, cause I say I'll do this my way. Can't understand why you're worried about me. Made up my mind that I would be free. So just keep that to yourself, cause I say I'll do this my way.
Hold up, they like, B, why you all in this rap-ish? I'm starting to feel like you capping. I'm starting to feel like you acting. I'm starting to feel I'm being catfished through touchy subjects and ad-libs. Are you a preacher, man, or a lyricist? Cause I don't really know if this hat fits. I'm like, wow, that's how you feel. I guess I just keep it all to myself. Won't no opinions, I don't need your help. But since you asked, let me share this wealth. Pay attention. Thing is, I'm both full of wisdom, full of wealth, full of God, still a earth shell. Ain't into sorcery, but I break spells. Learn to bring heaven, cause I've been through hell. And to trust funds, but I don't trust well. I'm a businessman and I'm God's man. Got a nurse brand and I dress well. I'm a lamb dressed in wolf's clothes. I'm a lion dressed in a man's robe. Dealt a bad hand, but I don't ever fold. I'm a high priest with no church clothes. Look, no cap. So you really mad cause I don't do what you do? Man. Think I'm a fool cause I don't choose what you choose. Still living well while I break all the rules. Looks like you might have this whole thing confused. Y'all hypocrites are like 9 people, but when it come to hats, I can't wear a few. Stop playing.
You say there's really no way to win. You say the pressure's too much giving. You should just hold your breath, cause I say I'll do this my way. Can't understand why you're worried about me. Made up my mind that I would be free. So just keep that to yourself, cause I say I'll do this my way.
Yeah. Say it's about what I say. It's about what I say. It's about what Why you worry about me? Why you worry about me? It ain't about what you see, it's about what I see. It ain't about what you say, it's about what I say. It's about what I say. Why you worry about me? Why won't you let me be? Why you worry about me? It's about what I see. It ain't about what you say, it's about what I say. It's about what I say.
So welcome back. Let's talk the theme of faith really quickly. First, let me say this. Hope you paid attention to some of the commercial break material. I really want you to get involved in some of the things that we have going on. Obviously, those books that were advertised are really great books. I always say, and they're sitting to my left. You're Right. And those are really great books. All right. A New Home's really great for leadership. All right. And I'm talking about beyond the home, right? I feel we all have a calling to leadership, but just at different capacities. So again, beyond the family home scenario, leading your own life. If you feel called to leadership beyond that, there's probably a certain number of conversations you've had to have with yourself, or a certain number of experiences, maybe similar to some of the things I was saying at the first half of this presentation. If you recognize those experiences, you're probably called to leadership a little bit, and that would be a good book for you. All right. I talk very in-depthly about my own experience, or you'll be able to peer in to your own life through some of my experience and make sense of things. And hopefully, again, the target, I always say that my target in coaching anybody is two things: accuracy, acceleration. All right. So this is just coaching principle. I would hope that through our demeanor towards you, our pressing and empowering you, that two things will come from that. This is our aim with every one of you that we coach, that you will be accelerated, number one. So let's say that you are out of alignment. We can accelerate your alignment and then align you in general. All right. So you can get to some of the things that were meant for you sooner than you may have thought you could even get to them. I am an accelerating agent. Acceleration agent. All right. So you have to know that core belief behind that would be that a lot of people wait around for the right time to do things in their life. I understand it to a certain degree. If you say, okay, I don't want to have a child right now, I don't want to buy this right now until I save up enough money, things like that. Those are cool. All right. I'm saying that we're waiting on something, I don't know, something like out of a fantasy book to just happen magically. And we're sitting around and waiting for some magic time that certain things will appear that we did not either integrate or initiate into our lives. And it's a fool's errand. It's a foolish errand. Let me say it that way. And so we want to alleviate some of that waste of time in coaching and help you to get there quicker than you thought. There's all these things about when the right time is. I would say this personally. You have to understand that as soon as I was born on this planet, it was my time. You're talking about a speck of dust in a timeline. Like, you know, let's say the timeline's this long and you're a speck of dust in that timeline. If we look at this from a wider space, to even think that I have time to wait inside of my particular space within that timeline is a foolish errand. I need to be excelling, going as quickly as possible, because what time do you really have is the honest question. All right. So you're here. It's your time. And ain't no other time than this. Right. After this, the kids' time will come, things like that. So anyway, I'm saying that to say that we are an accelerating agent. All right. And getting you to the point of accuracy. Both of those books will be good. The other is a daily read. That's probably, no, not even probably, that's for sure for everybody. I've heard testament that some people will put this beside their daily devotional and things like that. It's not a Christian book. It's just a book of wisdom. All right. You imagine Solomon's book, who he didn't write to, he wrote it to people. All right. So you can get daily wisdom from that. I want you to get those and tap into some of the other things we have going on too. Specifically, I'll say the podcast has a lot of great information. There's at least, I don't know, somewhere around 58 episodes. That, by the way, has been successful in its own right. You should be one of the listeners. It has been above and gone above the 40 something country mark, maybe even 50 at this point. I believe it is. I just didn't want to overestimate. And I'm telling you, that's with little to no advertising. All right. So somebody's enjoying it. All right. It's played. It's had the most replay and the most play, second highest outside of America and Germany. So I appreciate those listeners and things like that too, if you just happen to tune into this. So tap into those things. The very great products. Again, just wisdom, just daily practice things that will help you accelerate and align in the way that you're supposed to. Now, let's get on to faith very quickly. So thematically, some of you know this, that faith occurs, its birth begins in a person's life by it being introduced through your ear. Let's call it a gate today, just in remembrance of the gateway, through your ear gate. All right. So faith comes by a particular truth coming through the gate of someone's ear. Now, someone would say, maybe, I was wondering why you said faith is sight, or it has a sight component to it. Because in order to really hear something, you have to see it. Let me talk very plainly, very quickly about this. After a while, I started realizing why it was second nature to me. Sometimes while I was teaching, maybe coaching in a particular predicament, why I would say things like, do you see what I'm saying? I probably say it out of habit while I'm talking to you. Even in these presentations, do you see what I'm saying? Is how you may hear me say it. But why does that phrase even make sense? Because I know you understand something when you see it. Now, just listen to what I'm saying. I know a lot of you may think that you're seeing what you're seeing today because you're just seeing it, because it's in front of you. You're seeing what you're seeing today with your physical eyes because of what you heard. All right. So there's a blue light in front of me in the room that I can see to my right. I can only describe to you, I can only tell you that I'm seeing a blue light because that's what I've been told. All right. So the birthing of awareness comes through the ear gate. I don't know a lot of times what I'm looking at until somebody says to me what it is. So you're actually seeing because you hear. Why am I saying this? Because faith in and of itself has a sight component attached to it. I'm just saying this really quickly to get it out of the way. Faith is from the finish. When I hear a particular word that bursts faith into me, I start getting a picture of an end goal. And that's where I draw all of my faith from. I start my journey because there's something I see at the end. Now, here's where trust comes into play and why I think people confuse faith and the idea of blindness. Faith is not blind because I'm drawing my faith from what I see at the end. According to what I've heard, it painted a picture to me of the end. What I have to trust for is the process in between. That's what I don't know or I cannot see. Faith is from the finish. That's where my feet get moving. I'm moving in a particular direction because I saw an end that was preached to me. But the process is what I don't see in between. And the process, honestly, if we knew what it was, we would avoid the whole trip. But that's why I keep saying there's this whole other side to things, that the shaping and molding of our life often comes through what we perceive as pure punishment. All right. So we know that faith has to be birthed in our life. And what I'm saying is faith comes through the ear gate. I have to fully hear, which means I can see at the end of the day what's being said to me. Then faith begins. Faith is birthed in my life at that point. But here's what a lot of us don't ask ourselves. How can I truly hear? Because there's things said all the time. To be very honest with you, I could get on here and say the most positive words to you for 2 hours straight. And it doesn't mean that you've heard what I said or that faith has been birthed in your life, because when faith is actually birthed, you start to do according to what you've heard. Your feet actually get moving. That's how I know true faith has been birthed, through what's been heard. Okay. But now we get to the point of asking ourselves, well, how do I hear in the first place? So some of us know, I'll give one scriptural reference here just for the sake of understanding. And that reference is this: that God is the author. I only want to quote even a piece of it. He's the author of our faith. He births faith. So there's a number of ways that we could look at that idea of God being the author of faith. But here's where I want to primarily talk about it. Here's what I'm saying. Here's what I know. I was having a dear friend conversation at one point, and I was asking the person this question at the end of the conversation, because a lot of times we have a lot of ideas surrounding suffering in our lives. Like, why does it feel like, here's that key word again, I'm being punished so much? I can't get ahead. As soon as I got this, what happened? And what I told the friend in the moment was that I'm going to give you an outside view of yourself. Currently, today, right now, I hear you saying things that you've never said, let's say over the course of our 10 years of knowing one another. 10 years ago, you would have never had certain desires to peak in your life. You would have never had certain visions for your own life. You would have never had certain ideas about the outcome, certain yearnings for particular outcomes in your life. You have to realize that the faith you have now that's causing you to pursue certain things you can hear and therefore see in your life was birthed from the punishment that you've had to endure. Let me say it super plainly. Some of you would not be reaching as high as you're reaching had there not been an extreme level of what you perceive as punishment in your life. Would you ever, some of you, I'm just being honest with you, have ever gotten to the point of wanting or desiring to take the yoke, the burden of poverty, not only off yourself, but of others, the burden of sickness off of not only yourself, but others, the yoke of, and when I say yoke, I'm saying something that ties you down. Okay. So, or take the chains. Let me say it that way. The bondage of depression or mental illness, things like that. Some people that work towards ensuring that families have children, although being considered at one point barren. And I'm not talking about you money grab people, by the way. I'm saying those of you who have a genuine desire birthed in you. What I know is, had there not been a season of what you perceived as punishment, you would have not been pursuing, especially as strongly, as confidently, as vigorously, what you're doing today. What you've become successful at. All right. So I know that there's a happening. I know that there's a such thing as me being able to glean and learn and hear easily. That's when you can hear easily. Humility has been birthed in your life, right? Whether you've humbled yourself, whether you've been humbled in this life. Once you can hear and therefore gain faith and therefore walk in complete and total trust towards an end goal that was promised for you in this life, you've already accepted humility. Okay, you've already been grafted into an humble life. But here's the question we all got to ask ourselves. How did I get to the point of hearing? If it wasn't for, let's say, the yoke, let's say that chain, let's say the bondage, the burden of punishment. Unfortunately, I'm not saying this has to be the way. I'm saying for so many of us, having to endure time and time and time and time again until enough humility to listen to what's being spoken, particularly about your own life that was meant to birth faith. Listen, all I'm going to ask you behind all of this speech is, and this is what I've also coached many times over and over again. How long is it going to take? How much punishment do you have to endure? Why am I saying this? I am bridging you over. It's my job today to get you over, to push, to press you over into even the desire for fulfillment by birthing in you the understanding that all of the punishment you're going through currently is to birth, let's call this humility, because this is a baked in. Let's go back to the beginning of the presentation. It's baked in. There's nothing you can do about it. It ain't God punishing you now because you made a turn here and all these things. Listen, this has been a consequence since the beginning. When you're out of alignment, it burns completely. When you aren't who you're supposed to be, when you aren't fulfilled, when you aren't aligned with your design, a particular call, particular purpose over your life, it burns. How long is it going to take for you to be able to hear so that faith can be birthed in you, so that you can now go and do the things that you're supposed to do, that you're meant to do, best word, and feel the fulfillment that you were always made for? So I told you we'll talk faith and change, right? With your hearing comes the change agent also. This is where grace has its place in your life. Everyone knows if it was just so easy for us to change, everybody would change every day at the drop of a dime. All I'm telling you is this punishment or what you're perceiving as punishment is designed to change you. If you run from it in this way, I'm saying don't fall in love with it, then you will change a lot quicker than some others have. What am I making you aware of? It's all a design. That all you need to do today is turn toward fulfillment, towards purpose, towards living within your calling, things like that. Fulfillment, progress. All these things are possible in your life. What you're dealing with now is just the consequence for some of you, for many of you, of being outside of that calling. I'm telling you, as a person who has gone through the suffering of being outside of his calling. I coach this to men. I coach this to young women. Never keep a person from their calling. Never keep a man or a woman from his or her purpose. You will implode as an individual, and all of you were born with a particular purpose, a call, a design, a specific reason for which you're here to even bring fulfillment, bring something special within your design. You have treasure in earthen vessels, meaning you have treasure inside of you that is meant to be dispersed to the world. The more you run from that, the more depression, lack. I spoke this teaching, this training within this context. It's actually, if you want to get a double dose, there's a episode called Purpose Problems on our podcast. In Purpose Problems, I outline to you, a lot of you feel like you're just having people problems, you're having prosperity problems, you're having progress problems, you're having all of these things that you're compartmentalizing, and you don't realize all of it's attached to your individual purpose. All of those things, if you die to the ego, to the safe side, to trying to keep yourself from the persecution of fame or being out in the open, to, you like to live secretive lives and stuff like that because it just feels safer. I don't want anybody to know my name because then they might type a comment about me or something like that, or even worse, whatever the thing is, right? All of this comfort stuff. I can't coach you into comfort and coach you into fulfillment, because you have to get very uncomfortable to be fulfilled. Comfort is a disease, as far as I'm concerned. All right. How long is it gonna take? How much punishment will you endure? Because all I'm telling you is, all you got to do is turn. Not towards your ideas. Turn from your ideas of your life. Have you not had enough of your own ideas of how it should go, of what you're comfortable with? I want to tell a story, but maybe I'll do it inside the nation. I wanted to tell the story, Dane, of the dog laying on the nail that somebody told me, right? Some of you, unfortunately, I don't want this to be for you. You act like you ain't hurt bad enough. And I don't want it to hurt anymore. All right. It doesn't matter what you try to. Again, you're wondering why the addiction is there. You're wondering why the mental illness, literally. You're wondering why the bad relationships. You're wondering why the misalignment in career. All these things are there. You have not given up the yoke of your own opinion, of your way, and started pursuing alignment, fulfillment in this life. I'm telling you the honest truth. As long as you're afraid, let's even say, to shine in this life, I'll be honest with you, God is only going to uplift who's willing to shine. There's these ideas that and this is true, very true, by the way, that promotion only comes from God, which is true. Nobody can decide to truly promote you in this world. I promise you, if God don't be behind, and I know I said that ghetto, behind what I'm doing, Listen, nobody can promote me. Oprah could say my name tomorrow and no one be attracted to what we got going on. I understand for a fact. It's the grace of God that even calls people, draws men towards other men. Believe me. Okay? Promotion does come from above. All right? But here's what I have to say about that. You think God would want to promote something that's going to hide? That he can't get glory from? That he couldn't point and say, that's my child? All right. Why am I saying you got to get rid of the disease of comfort? Because you got to be willing to be known. You got to be willing to put yourself out there, emotions and everything. Right. Talk about things that are really God designed, that are on your heart. You got to be willing to help people. Everybody want to receive a blessing. This kind of goes in with that whole everybody want to go to heaven, but nobody want to die to get there. Everybody wants a blessing. But the question I really need to be asking myself, if that's me, is will I receive the need? You want to know why anyone becomes blessed, or let me say it this way, how to even be a blessing to others is to receive their need. What I'm saying to you is there's this component, there's this opponent that the human mind, it works only for certain areas. I understand. Again, wanting to escape poverty, for instance, so I don't have to be drained, stressed every week because I'm worried about a particular thing, whether concerning myself or someone else. That makes sense, right? There's a seeking sort of comfort from stress, getting away from certain things that harm us. At the same time, there has to be a side of me that knows where I need to avoid and receive or look at comfort as an opponent, as someone, as a disease, as something trying to take me away from the fulfillment that was designed for me. All right. So there's a weight side to this whole thing that I have to be willing to go into, that I have to be willing to sacrifice myself for. Fulfillment is great. Fulfillment also costs you. It just does. And I don't want to say, obviously, is that I couldn't say that it costs you the depression you're in, because you want to give up that cost. All right. But you need to know the drinking habit, why I keep trying to cope with things. I'm away from my design. The fruit of being out of alignment is what creates all of the things that I don't like about my life currently. All of the lack of discipline, all of the wasting of time, all of the sometimes even mishandling and missing opportunity for worthy relationships, whether personal or looking at it at a broad scale, again, friends, or anything more intimate. It doesn't work when I'm out of alignment, when I'm not where my calling is, where I'm not where my purpose is. All right. So here's the last thing I'll say to you on the back of all of this. It's time for us all. I don't even want to say it a way that I was about to say it, but it's time for all of us. Some people say man up, woman up, human up. All right. Just be willing to pay the cost, because there's already a cost. There's already a punishment. And trust me, it's God's grace that there's a punishment outside of my calling. Because how else would I know where the calling is? How else would I know what to be running towards? A lot of you have way too many concerns about how people feel about you, you know, all these things. Not just your own opinion. I'm saying opinions from others. It doesn't matter. You're scared to go where you might be judged. You're scared to go in front of those that might, again, persecute you. Things like that. Why? The disease is comfort there. All right. Let's run away from that. I'm calling you into your calling. I'm calling you into fulfillment today. That's my whole purpose for today. I'm just only explaining to you why God the Punisher is after you. When you run from your design, and this is not after you in real time, he was after you from the beginning, right? And I already told you this is out of love. Because I discipline the people I love. Those who are out of alignment, who are not experiencing all of the love you're meant to. Let's just say me as a parent. Let's not take this outside that frame currently. When I truly love and care about somebody, I want them to be fulfilled. I want them to be successful. And if I don't design some framework for reeling a person in when they're misaligned with those things. And I hate how, you know, some of you may even argue whether or not success should be something you're after. It's creepy. I want to keep using words that are getting us ready. You see how solemn it is today, right? Like there's no clapping or anything. We always find ways to not keep it too serious. I'm preparing you for the spooky edition next month. Okay. But that's creepy. All you have to do is think about it this way, in a parenting position. You're wondering whether you should pursue success or whether that should be a real thing. What would you want for your own children being in that position, or either putting yourself in that position if you aren't in that position? Some of you say, well, I just want them to be whatever they want to be, because you haven't lived with the reality of the fact that means live with the reality that they could be a failure. And failure for anybody puts them in the worst predicament in their own mind, things like that. We've heard a phrase over the years, probably most of you, that the idle mind is the devil's workshop, right? When I'm not aligned, when I'm not in purpose, again, you implode. I start putting a fight on the inside of me that's unnecessary. And the only fight you can win in this life is the one on the outside, right? If things don't align inwardly, where you're willing to pay the cost to be whatever you are intended to be in this life by someone else, not yourself. When you will align with the will and the design over your life, you will come up. All right. That's all I want to say to you, or I will say to you, today. Join the nation. I am here to press and empower you to lead a life that is full of fulfillment. Me, that's my design. I will always speak this way. I will never let you tell me some excuse about how fulfillment is made for some people and not for other people. I won't ever let you tell me that, you know, you shouldn't prosper, that you shouldn't leave even an inheritance for your child's child or something like that. You'll never drag me into those type of conversations. Number one, I've said it plainly, I'm better than no one. All right. If I can believe it for me, why shouldn't you believe it for yourself? Yes, it's true. You're only going to get there by grace, right? By divine empowerment on the inside of you. Yeah, it's going to cost you. Because whoever's thinking maybe even your way of thinking right now, it's hard to change too because of this, because there's a system around everybody's current state. You don't realize, but you're in a network of predicaments that keep you comfortable where you are. That's what coaching is for, so you can understand and realize these things. That's why it's hard to change also. Lastly, what's the question we should all be asking ourselves? How much punishment will you endure? That is not going to change. I, as a good father, would allow everything outside of my child's fulfillment, fun, success, prospering, right? Even that word doesn't just mean financially. It does mean financially, but prospering in every way. Why shouldn't you prosper in every way? In healthy friendships, in healthy relationships of all types, right? Why shouldn't you prosper in every way? All I'm saying to you is, I would design it the same way, that it's responsible, right? It needs to feel bad when I'm out of alignment, right? I can say that joyfully now, because to be in alignment, at least in, I don't know what areas, I'm not self-examining right now, but at least in the areas that I have aligned, I can tell you it's life and life abundant. And I mean that. Why wouldn't I want the same thing for all of you? All right. Join the nation. It's a good place to start becoming aligned. I told you the two things about coaching is that we are here not only to power and press and empower you to lead a life that's full of fulfillment, but just think about the design of coaching to do this, to align, to accelerate your life. You can do it alone. You can. How long is that going to take? How much punishment are you going to have to endure before you can hear? Because no matter what, you will never get around. You will never get around having to hear someone. It's not God's design. How long will it take you to hear? Is the major problem, right? How much punishment do you have to endure? Join the nation. We'll be back with you next month. Spooky edition, on top of the business and leadership edition too. That one will be regular. I don't think I'm going to rename that one. Ghost Town coming up. All right. Listen, I love every one of you. Although I don't know you, that was birthed in me probably through pain too. I don't have a selfish bone now. I don't think. Right. Let me self-examine afterwards and I'll tell you. But I got love to give at this point is all I'm saying, because I've become humbled enough to be able to receive the type of love that I can give everyone. All right. So sign up. I want to see you fulfilled. We'll see you on the other side. And as always, it's our desire as a conglomerate, as a unit, Iexist unit, to see you prosper. It's our desire that you will. My desire that you would prosper. And until next time.
We hope you enjoyed our experience. If you would like to gain access to more in-depth teachings such as this one, a host of other products and services, or the opportunity to partner with others who are becoming all that they are, join our exclusive membership community. Join the nation, the Iexist Nation. All the info you need can be found in the description of this video. Until next time.
Just keeps getting better and better. You just wait and see. You don't have to see it now in order to believe. Life just keeps getting better and better. You just wait and see. You don't have to see it now in order to believe. better, better. Ooh, better, 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 better. Life just keeps getting better and better. You just wait and see. You don't have to see it now in order to believe. Life just keeps getting better and better. You just wait and see. You don't have to see it now in order to believe. Better, 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 better. Oh, better, 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 better. Life just keeps getting better and better. You just wait and see. You don't have to see it now in order to believe. Life just keeps getting better and better. You just wait and see. You don't have to see it now in order to believe. Better, 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 better. Oh, better, 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 better. Oh yeah, better, better, ooh, better, better. Yes it is. Better, it's alright. Better. Oh, better. It goes up from better. Believe it. Better. Already. Better. Already. Better. Already. Better. 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 Oh, oh.
Switch. One time, cause I got get up on my mind. One time, cause I got get up on my mind. One time, cause I got get up on my mind. I got get up on my mind. I got get up
Oh
on
yeah,
my
oh
mind.
yeah.